And today we will be examining the emergency response time between urban and rural campuses. We are trying to figure out how does a school's proximity to a major metropolitan area differentiate the time it takes for emergency services to respond to an incident on campus. With that, we must state our parameter of interest, the mean time of emergency response for rural schools, the mean time of emergency response for urban schools, and their standard deviations. We are looking for the true difference of mean time of arrival of emergency services to rural and urban schools. With that, I collected 2 random samples, 40 rural schools located 10 to 70 miles away from a metropolitan area in southern Texas, and 40 urban schools from said metropolitan areas in southern Texas, 10 from Rio Grande Valley, 10 from Corpus Christi, 10 from San Antonio, and 10 from Laredo, Victoria, Eagle Pass, Del Rio, and Alice combined. I contacted these schools via cell phone and reported whether or not an emergency that required local emergency services occurred on campus within the past 4 years. If yes, I reported the time length between the initial call and the arrival. If not, I simply thanked them and hung up. For rural schools, as you can see, most of the response time lands within more than 10 minutes, maybe more than 20 minutes, with a mean time of 18.275 minutes and a standard deviation of 8.04 minutes. For the urban schools, however, most response time landed within 2 to 5 minutes with a mean time of 4.325 minutes and a standard deviation of 2.358 minutes. Before doing a test, we must make sure that the test meets its requirements. All samples were randomly chosen without repetition. The standard deviation of both samples were found, and both samples were greater than 30, which satisfies the central limit theorem. The test that we use for this experiment is the two sample z-test of difference of means with a 95% confidence interval. This can be calculated by this formula. The difference of means plus or minus z star and the square root of the standard deviation of rural versus urban schools. After calculations, our formula is 13.950 plus or minus 1.96 times 1.327. 1.96 is the z star of a 95% confidence interval, and 1.327 is the standard deviation of rural versus urban. Our interval is from 11.349 minutes to 16.551 minutes. We can confidently say that with a 95% confidence that the interval between 11.349 to 16.551 minutes captures the true difference in mean time of arrival of emergency services to all rural and urban high schools. There were some limitations to this experiment, however. Many of the schools did not report any of the data due to privacy and legal concerns, thus making the original data too variant and unreliable. Instead, the average estimated time of arrival from a police station, fire station, and the closest hospital capable of handling a mass casualty event was calculated and used as each school's individual data.